Welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage. This podcast is dedicated to helping attorneys earn more money, get better clients, and spend more time with family. I'm your host, Alay and founder of Law Firm Success Group. Smart business guidance for small law firms begins in 3, 2, 1. And it's my pleasure to welcome back to Lawyer Business Advantage, Julia Taylor, CEO of Lev Legal. Julia, welcome back. How are you?
Thank you. I feel like we're becoming old friends.
I know. This is great, though. I'm really happy we've had a chance to connect because we haven't had a chance to do that in several months. So it's
Yeah.
definitely overdue. We talked in the last two episodes, by the way, attorney entrepreneurs. If you haven't caught them, please do. Julia's phenomenal, and she goes through a lot of really good information on working with paralegals and working with virtual paralegals, which is what she does at Lev Legal. And in your work with your clients, you're bringing paralegals into their firm. So you get to know the firm pretty intimately. And sometimes there's other problems that the firm has that are way beyond the paralegal that's being put in. And you're actually in a unique position to deal with some of those things. So I think you mentioned you used to be a law firm administrator.
Yes.
Tell us, how you have worked that into yet another aspect of Lev Legal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it started when I was looking for help for Love Legal, and I joined a lot of Facebook groups and I was talking to a lot of business owners in the non-legal space. And someone approached me about, hey, do you need an online business manager? And I was like, what is this? I don't know. And there's a whole certification for it and everything like that. And what it is someone that gets into a business that usually is, remote online based and helps them with all the back office things, the growth projects, the systems, the software, that sort of thing. And so when I was looking for some help in my business, and as I was talking to my attorneys who were struggling to get the back office support they need or do it themselves, I was like, I think this would be something really cool and interesting for my field. And so while we don't call it online business manager, we term it virtual firm administrator or fractional COO so that it resonates with our law firms. That's essentially what it is.
Boy, oh boy, I can just see a lot of my clients being very, very interested in that. And so how has that kind of how has that gone for you with alongside your virtual paralegal business?
Yeah, absolutely. So traditionally, a really good firm administrator right now is a six-figure position, or very close to it. And so that prices out a lot of law firms from being able to have that back office support that they need. So we're able to give that to our firms on a subscription basis. And so a lot of times when, I talked to a new client today who signed up for the subscription services and the virtual paralegal services. She said that she told her team, somebody's going to come in and fix these things and help me run this ship. I don't know who that is yet or what, if that person exists. And then she reached out about paralegal services and found out that that's something that we do. So not even knowing that it existed, but having that need when we connected on one thing, she found out that she could get this help in her firm. So I think that's a lot of what it is. We get people that come in looking for one thing and then they find out about this thing that handles all those projects and tasks and things that have to get done, but you don't have the time to do it. And it's not paralegal work because you want your paralegal to be billing.
It's almost like an executive assistant slash office manager.
Yes, exactly. So they're overseeing, you know, things like newsletters and managing CLEs and, following up on outstanding invoices and things like that. So again, things that aren't necessarily billable, but are revenue generating for the firm.
Yeah. So, I mean that sounds awesome. And there's things that that person can do, and there's things that maybe they can't do because they're virtual.
Mhm.
So maybe give us an example of probably the best thing because we've got attorney entrepreneurs here on the line, the things that they can't do. What are some of the limitations because they're virtual or because of their skill set?
Yeah, I think if you're still a very paper forward office and you've got a lot of paper files and things like that, sometimes it's hard to do that virtually. I've definitely gone out on site a few times and helped with that so that we could support a firm virtually. But I think if you're very much relying on paper and things like that, it does become really hard to get up to speed really quickly. I think sometimes a lot of times I triage issues with clients and staff and things like that. And sometimes it doesn't replace just picking up the phone and calling one of your clients because, I can be great, the paralegal can be great, but sometimes they just want to hear from the attorney. And so while we can put out fires and fix things, sometimes, you still have to pick up the phone and call. So I think that's been a huge challenge. Realizing sometimes you still the client wants to hear from the attorney.
Sure. And then because I guess the remote, they
Yeah.
probably can't pick up the mail. If checks show up in the office, they can't run those to the bank. Um,
But the great thing is there's services for that. So I can think of a couple services that will get the mail and scan in checks and deposit those checks and send emails to the remote team. So there are a lot of things that could be done remotely for firms that I'm handling myself. Sometimes they send me a book of checks so I can help,
no
mail
way.
out checks, or they divert the mail to my virtual office instead of theirs. So I think where there's a will, there's certainly a way.
Oh, that's cool. And so it sounds like you've got the tools and resources that if an attorney is concerned about it and has
Mm-hmm.
concerns about virtual versus on-site, you have a lot of those solutions, even though the attorney won't know about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So there are so many tools, especially now, again, post COVID, that make it possible for sure.
So if I'm an attorney, how do I know that I should look into bringing on a fractional COO or a virtual law firm
Yeah.
manager?
So I think there's a couple pain points that they could solve immediately. So if you are struggling to do the legal work and manage a team, I think that fractional COO VFA becomes the team and the project manager and the middleman between you and the team, you and vendors and things like that to take away some of those things that are taking you away from revenue generating activities is what I like to say. So, whether that's billing or that's you going out and networking and getting more business in the door, I think if you aren't doing those things or don't have the time that you need to do those things, then that's where like a fractional COO can come in and fix those issues for you.
Got it. And how fractional is it really? Because as I think about this, they could very easily be doing, 20 hours a week with a firm without even batting an eye if they're
Yeah.
doing all of those things.
Yeah. We use the term fractional, but it really becomes a partnership. And we hope that that is a long term partnership. And certainly we have firms who have been with us throughout that process and haven't had a need to like fill that role full time. So while it's fractional, we hope that it becomes a long term solution. I love to see firms from point A to point B and see them when, I think of a firm when we first started, it was just me and him in a coffee shop,
Oh, no way.
just with an idea that he had. And
Yeah.
now he has like a team of 20, 25 paralegals and case managers and things like that. And I got to see him through all those phases of growth.
Awesome. And how did the um, fractional COO, I'm assuming that was you in that case.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
was the role that you played in pushing that forward and growing his firm?
yeah. In the very beginning, it was me getting on like Canva and creating logos and flyers and helping him write scripts for radio ads and setting up the case management software before it got out of control. And then as the firm grew, it was creating SOPs and interviewing and doing initial interviews, and only putting the people in front of him that we thought would be a good fit for the team. Automating documents, coding documents, so that instead of paralegals having to do these things by hand, they're automated in the case management system. And then at some point, like hiring more full time leadership, whether that's a fractional CFO or in house CFO and things like that. So it looks different in every stage, but we were able to grow and my role changed throughout time. But he still got my support at the same price that he could budget for and account for monthly.
Wow. He must be really grateful for your partnership.
Yes. Now my roles change a lot and I'm just kind of in the background and he calls me when he needs me and he has an issue. But it was a lot of like rolling up the sleeves and doing the hard work at first.
Yeah, wow. And so that brings up a great question. You're able to do this, and you've got a lot of experience as a paralegal
Mhm.
and a law firm admin. You know, for the fractional COO role, what does that person typically have as far as background and experience?
Yeah, so we are looking for people who have worked in law firm management. I believe you have to be really tech savvy in this role and be able to know all the legal software out there, Clio and Smokeball and so on, and be able to really understand those systems and help a firm utilize it to its fullest potential. Because I think it all starts with where all the information is being held. To understand billing and collections, I think is really important. Um, and understand team, having managed a team before and have, you know, good bedside manner, just not just for like the support team, but for clients as well, because I think sometimes you're going in and you're triaging those issues as well.
It sounds like a wonderful person, but that sounds like a hard person to find. Um, so
Yeah, it is. And I like when I get a paralegal resume and I see that they have firm administrator skills or operation skills, even sometimes if it's not in legal, I always push those resumes to the side and like, okay, hey, I know you applied for a paralegal position, but I saw some skill sets in you that could really be great for this part of the business that we have. Tell me a little bit about your experience managing team and building out departments and systems within a law firm.
I love that. What a cool idea. So if you see potential, whether it's experience or skills
Mm-hmm.
or ability in a paralegal, you're actually going to work with that paralegal to develop their skills so they can transition either fully or partially into this fractional COO role.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Um, okay. And then about how many clients does one of your fractional COO people typically have at one time?
Yeah, no more than 4 to 5 at one time. And so you might have two that are really heavy and, a couple that are have less of less need. Sometimes that might be one firm that just needs somebody full time. So we again look at it kind of like we do with the paralegals and make sure that, you know, whoever's in that seat is able to give that firm what they need. We meet with our subscription clients weekly for at least an hour, and we always request that they set aside that time every week to work on their firm and meet with their fractional COO and get the support they need, make goals. We do that usually on a quarterly and monthly and weekly basis as well. So yes, it's a process, and we want the firms to be a part of that and set aside that time so that their fractional COO is set up for success.
That sounds fantastic. Um, so if I'm hearing this right, it sounds like your typical fractional COO may work, as little as 10 hours a week for a client.
Yeah, exactly.
So in that amount of time, what is a good expectation for what they can actually do?
Yeah, so sometimes it's just strategy. Sometimes, the firm has all the people in place. And so it's just a huge like oversight and strategy. Like, hey, this is an idea I have. How do I get there? So my firms where it's less hours, I think that's a lot of it. Like, oh, I want to do this event. Like, what do I need to do to get there? Can you delegate these tasks to the team members that you think can help get it done so that work's not on you? So you'd be surprised how much you can get done in those 10 hours. Sometimes it's just running the draft bills and it might take you a few minutes, but just going through those and so the attorney doesn't have to takes a lot off their plate.
Awesome. And how involved do they get? This is kind of with that executive assistant role hat
Mhm.
on. How involved do they get in the attorney's personal obligations and commitments?
Again, it depends. Like I certainly have firms that have personal like other businesses and things that they do, and they need some support there because it all works together. So it's completely up to the firm. We design the subscription to be, we give them a list of tasks that we do for other firms, but then we sit down and say, hey, what's important to you when you look at this role? What are the things that you want to delegate? So it's completely custom tailored to that firm and what they need at the time.
And how do you see this aspect of your business, of Lev Legal's business, this fractional COO service? How do you see that fitting into Lev Legal in the future?
Yeah, I think it's something that I'm really passionate about. It's the thing in my business that I enjoy doing the most, just seeing my firms, reduce their overhead and, sometimes they're not paying themselves and, to help them get to a point in their practice where, hey, now we're going to put you on payroll and we're going to pay you a consistent paycheck. So I would love to continue to grow that and get more firms, get more firm administrators trained and ready to take on additional clients. I think sometimes, we are the doers, not just going to tell you like, hey, you need to do these things. We're going to actually do them for you and get you there. So we'd love to continue to grow that and are always looking for top talent that feel like they have something that can contribute.
Fantastic. So if people want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, if you go to lab-legal.com, there's a link to book with me directly. There's some information about the firm administrator services fractional COO. I would love to see how we can support you.
Julia, it's been awesome having you chatting with you for these last three podcasts. It's been great. And I look forward to doing a lot more of this type of thing with you going forward. Congratulations
Yeah, absolutely.
for all your success and the great work you're doing for law firms.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to continue to work with you and always have you in the back of mind when my clients are looking for that extra push to get to where they need to be in their practice.
Appreciate that very much. Everyone, that's Julia Taylor, CEO of Lev Legal.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Lawyer Business Advantage podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in to listen. And I want to hear from you, so connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what you think of this episode. And if you are a solo or an owner of a small law firm and you're looking to earn more money, attract better clients, or reduce your stress, we would love to talk with you to see how we can help. Request your free law firm assessment by visiting lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. Again, that URL is lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. We look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you for listening. My name is Alay Yajnik. Until next time, remember, you can seize freedom, you can embrace happiness, you can build your perfect practice.